Hey everyone, it's yours truly, V. And the topic today I would like to discuss on Talks with V is when you're getting in the way of your own growth. This topic to me has actually just been on my mind. I was actually having a conversation with a friend the other day, actually yesterday, and we were just vibing, having our conversations. Um, as as always, I'm typically talking to my friends or somebody and enjoying their conversation, enjoying, like their outlook on things and sharing my outlook or opinion. But the crazy thing is that a lot of times I'll I don't know, my mind might be on something else, but once I, just really get, focused on our conversation, if it's, serious or an important one, I will just get these, I guess you can call it downloads or, you know, message, and I like to say a lot of times that it's from God, and what He, has put on my heart, to say um, to that individual, and obviously I'm not um, flawless. Um, I have my own set of, I guess you could say, flaws, but when there's something that needs to be said or it's put on my heart to help someone, I give it to them. So, anywho, um, I was having this conversation with my friend, and we're just talking about relationships because it's always something that is important and will continue to come up no matter what. If I'm talking about it or someone else is talking about it, if they're not talking about it, somebody else is talking about it. It's just something, one of those topics that's just popular, and I'm assuming that's because we're still trying to master this thing and create better relationships with the people in our lives. So we're having a conversation about, when you're feeling someone and let's just say they ghost you, or it's there's these uncertainties, that we have, with them. And we basically take part in this whole drawn out process, right? Um, and then we get mad at ourselves and, you know, beat ourselves up about why weren't you smarter about your decisions? Why did you allow this person to waste your time? Um, why don't you care about yourself enough to, prevent this person or individuals in general from abusing, your friendship or your relationship? And it just came to me that a lot of us who are overachievers are typically pretty, successful in certain areas of our life. We are extra hard on ourselves. And it's to the point that you can't even grow. You know what I mean? Like, when I say that, it actually kind of, when it came to me, it actually hurt me, some, because I realized that I'm guilty of it. And so many people who I care about, or even know, because, I care about, everyone. And sometimes we're so hard on ourselves when we're working on ourselves, trying to overcome, a situation, or, looking at ourselves and our flaws, and we're like, what is wrong with you? Like, you are so stupid, or don't you, care about yourself? Like, what is wrong with me? Why don't I love me enough to remove myself from this situation, or to sit here and allow someone to make a fool out of me, like, continuously? And I personally believe that sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. And while we're busy beating ourselves up, we could have been working towards becoming better or making better decisions, And so sometimes I have to just give myself a break, you know what I mean? Because I've been through those stages, or those stages when you're just hard on yourself, beating yourself up for every little thing, because you're like, I know better, I'm smarter than this. I know the game, but I put myself in a situation where this person is able to game me. And what I really think is that, we just have to be more honest with ourselves, because there's situations that we go into or stay in because we want to. You know what I'm talking about? There are some people that you don't need to be dealing with. You know it. They know it. But they're down for the ride, because they're just like, if this person is going to, just, hang out with me for the hell of it, or whatever their reason is, and I can still benefit from it, I'm definitely going to do it. So that's where they're at. But you know better. But you decide to still do it, right? You have to be honest with yourself and say, what's my real reason? That I can't cut this person off, or that I'm not cutting this person off, or just distancing, putting a little distance in between us. And that's the important part. When you get by yourself, no one's looking, no one else knows what's going on, but just talking to yourself, being real and transparent with you. Ask yourself why. What is it that you are looking for? Because you can tell yourself, you can, whatever you want to tell yourself, and you can beat yourself up, that you should know better, and that you should do better, and that person's not worth your time, and all these things. But if you're not being real with yourself on what the reason is that you won't let this person go, or, shake them off, or, just altogether stop dealing with them, then it's just going to continue. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're still going to stay in the same place. It's going to be next month, and you're in the same place. And some people, a few months later, some years. And it's just like, do you want to be there? You know what I mean? Do you want to be in that same spot? And I just think that you have to be your own friend, sometimes, well, all the time. Like, you're your number one cheerleader, your number one supporter, You got to have your own back, you know? You have to be your own hero. And that means being real with yourself, being honest with yourself, and not kicking yourself when you're down. You know? Because just think about it, if it were someone else, you would be upset with them. You would be like, you're hurting me. You're kicking me when I'm down. But we do it to ourselves all the time. And is that going to help you grow in that situation? Is it going to make it better? Is it going to make you change immediately? Because when your frenemy, does it to you, or that member from your church, or that family member does that to you and tells you, well, you know better, but you keep doing the same thing, don't you care about yourself enough, to make better decisions? I mean, you don't like how that feels. I know I don't like how it feels. So what do you feel is going to be different if you do it to yourself? Because you already know that you know better. You already know that you're smart and that you're this bomb individual. But you're making a decision because that's what you want to do. So at some point, you have to just embrace it and say, this is what I want to do right now. This is what I feel like doing. I know this dude's a jerk. I know this might not be the best decision for me. I may need to stay home. I may need to focus on something else. But if your heart is in it, I'm not trying to promote someone to do something wrong, but if that's where your heart is and that's what you're focused on and it is consuming you, you have to face it and either get the help, if you need to get therapy, if you need to just confront it, if it's a person and you just need to have that conversation, that real conversation with them. If you need to have a certain experience and it's necessary, for you to move on or move forward, then I think you have to do it. And not be so hard on yourself for being you. Be so hard on yourself for a decision that you're making, but if you have the opportunity to do it again, you would do it again the exact same way. So we have to be real with ourselves. We have to say, okay, I'm not growing or I'm not moving past the situation because I don't want to. I'm enjoying it to an extent. It may be madness. It may be just completely chaotic. And you might be thriving off of that because that's where you're at that time. And you have to be real, about it. You have to be real about what it is that you want to do. Because if you're saying, let's say any other aspect outside of relationships, but with yourself, right? You're saying, okay, I want to lose weight, right? But you're not losing weight. You're going out, you're drinking, you're eating everything in sight. You're giving into every, favorite food, you're not working out. Nothing's coming of it except for you being in a worse situation because you don't want it, bad enough. you don't, and sometimes we just don't see it. We just don't, have a real understanding of what this better situation would be like. And so we're saying, I'm comfortable with doing the same old thing or making this decision, even though it's wrong every time, because I'm comfortable here and I'm not ready to grow past it. So I'm not. Since I'm not ready, there will be no progress. You get what I'm saying? And I think once we start being more real with ourselves and just saying, you know what, this is what I want to do at this point, and I'm not ready to move forward. So I don't got to ask myself this question later on today or next week. Why am I still in the same situation?